Welcome to Stoner's Outpost TV. I'm Pauline.
Soon the Sunday laws will be enforced, and men in positions of trust will be embittered against the little handful of God's commandment-keeping people. 4 Manuscript Release, page 278, 1909.
All right, Bible prophecy students, we've got Project 2025 for you today. People have been asking me about this. Brother Ritzema, tell us your thoughts on Project 2025. Is it prophetically significant? You've heard the buzz. Have people poo-pooed it? Is there misinformation about it? Yeah, I'm going to give you just the quotes, the statements from it. You decide for yourself. But if you haven't learned of prophecy, who the first beast of Revelation 13 is, who the second beast of Revelation 13 is, what the mark of the beast is, this won't make a whole lot of sense to you. So go back through the 14-part prophecy series on this very channel, or go to beltoftruth.tv and watch 7 Deadly Myths in Christianity, 10 parts, and then watch America's 11th Hour, 4 parts. You'll have an entire course on Bible prophecy, and all this stuff will be put into context. I only have 1 page out of the 920 pages of the Project 2025 document because this is the prophetically significant one. The rest of the document is unsurprising conservative principles that the Heritage Foundation and their collection of think tanks and interest groups are advocating for the next presidential administration to implement. This one, with the heading Sabbath Rest, got the attention of students of Bible prophecy. By the way, if you want your attention brought to Bible prophecy and the present truth, you want to be subscribed to this channel. Subscribe right now, because we're doing a Sunday law update right now, and they will continue to come as the news develops. So stay updated, keep up to speed. Now let's read from the document. God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest. True or false? You're thinking true, aren't you? Because you're thinking of the actual Sabbath of the 4th commandment, the 7th day. They're talking about the first day of the week, because later they talk about a communal day of rest that has eroded. So we used to have a communal day of rest. What day was that? That's the first day of the week. So false. God did not ordain the first day of the week as a day of rest. Until very recently, the Judeo-Christian tradition sought to honor that mandate by moral and legal regulation of work, legal regulation of work on that day. Pause right there. They are advocating for national laws for the Fair Labor Standards Act to be amended and the Department of Labor to begin to implement something that we're going to see in a second. Entry-level stuff, foot-in-the-door stuff, but this is at a federal level. They're saying until very recently this was the case, and that was at a state level. This would be a national Sunday law if they get this passed. So that's significant right there. But what are they advocating? Legal regulation of work on Sunday. Is that something that we should believe in? I want everybody to observe the 7th day of the week, but I'm not going to try to pass a law regulating what people can and can't do. The decision needs to be made by the individual in the first 4 commandments, to worship Him who made the heaven, the earth, and the sea. The first 4 commandments are about worshiping God, and God Himself says, "Choose ye this day whom ye shall worship." And very recently we had some liberty of conscience issues about the body temple, particularly temple, that's worship language, about offering our bodies as living sacrifice. And so the very people, some of them were very strong against mandating, and we just read that word in this document, mandating certain things upon individuals in spite of their conscientious objection to it. Now they're advocating mandating other things, legal regulation of work on Sunday. A social engineering project of their own who've spoken out against the social engineering madness of our day, allies on so many points, missing the boat big time here because they say, unfortunately, that communal day of rest has eroded. We got to reestablish a communal day of rest. Is this individualism or is this collectivism? It's one or the other here, right? We've got a collectivist ideology on the right. You think of that as authoritarian communism and crazy left-wing ideologies. Communal day of rest to be brought through legal regulation is the language in the opening paragraph. There is nothing about liberty in this paragraph. Now, what is the exact policy to be advocated here? Congress should require that workers be paid time and a half for hours worked on the Sabbath. That day would default to Sunday. Now you might say, well, that's not the biggest Sunday law ever, but remember, these things will incrementally develop. This is a foot in the door if this legislation was to be passed. This isn't drafted legislation yet. This is a policy requesting legislation be drafted and passed by Congress and signed by the President and then implemented through the Department of Labor. So that's the policy, and it's not like the final Sunday law, but this is a national Sunday law that they are advocating drafting. There's one more thing in there that I didn't mention, and that is that Seventh-day Sabbath-keeping employers are not required to pay their employees time and a half for work performed on Sunday, assuming that is because they're already giving their employees a day off at least. But the goal here is to get us back to a communal day of rest. That's why the secular employer is required to have it be Sunday that they pay time and a half to. Even if that's a restaurant and that secular employer wants to be off on Monday, like, nope, you got to pay time and a half on Sunday because we're trying to get back to a communal day of rest. Biblically, the last 6 commandments are the purview of the state, not the first 4 commandments. We don't want a papal, apostate Protestant version of social engineering. We can speak the truth in love, filled with grace and truth, warn the people about the prophetic alarm bells that are ringing, that this is a step toward that final Sunday law and mark of the beast enforcement. We've been warned. Stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Let your hearts not fear for what's coming upon the earth, but lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Soon the Sunday laws will be enforced, and men in positions of trust will be embittered against the little handful of God's commandment-keeping people. 4 Manuscript Release, page 278, 1909. The prophecy of Revelation 13 declares that the power represented by the beast with lamb-like horns shall cause, quote, the earth and them that dwell therein, unquote, to worship the papacy. They're symbolized by the beast, quote, like unto a leopard, unquote. This prophecy will be fulfilled when the United States shall enforce Sunday observance, which Rome claims as the special acknowledgement of her supremacy.